I struggle with purslane. I know it's nutritious and full of omega-3, but I really don't like the mucilaginous or slimy nature of it. So when I saw a recipe from the 17th century, I thought I'd give it a try. Outside of the purslane, you only need a couple of simple ingredients, like salt, an onion, some olive oil, vinegar, black peppercorns, and a cinnamon stick. Now, old recipes require old ways, so I'm using this mortar and pestle to grind my black peppercorns and cinnamon. This is going to take a while, so make sure to put some welly in it. And after, 15 minutes or so, I had the right consistency. Moving on, it's time to prepare my purslane. I really only want the fresh leaves. This recipe only called for leaves. In fact, it recommended that if you didn't have purslane, you could use cress or lamb's quarters. So it's all about the leaf. Now, if you have an issue where you want to use stems because you hate waste, then feel free to chop them and use them. But again, I have an issue with the mucilaginous texture, so no stems for me, just the gentle leaf. And once my bowl is filled, it's time to work on my onion. Now, the recipe called for minced onion, but I thought I was sharing this with my husband, so I decided to do grated onion because he's not onion's biggest fan. I also decided to use red onion because I prefer it raw as opposed to white onion. If you're doing, say, 4 to 6 cups of purslane, then you'll need about a half onion. Because I was only doing about 2 cups, I only needed a quarter onion. Once that was grated and ready to go, it was time for the magic to happen. And here we go. Let's dress the salad. I started by putting dollops of my grated onion in, and after giving it a bit of a toss, dressing it with olive oil, followed by some balsamic. Then I gave it another good mix before adding a touch of my Madeiran wine salt. Then I added a sprinkle of my cinnamon and ground pepper mixture before giving it a final mix. And then it was time for the taste test. Now, I have to say, because of its mucilaginous texture, I am not someone that has fallen tremendously in love with purslane. But this recipe intrigued me, so I decided to give it a try. So here it is. I will have to say, I think because the recipe really used the leaf and not the stem, which is much more mucilaginous, it's light. I like the way that the pepper works with the cinnamon to give it a spicy punch. I also like the way that the raw onion kind of snaps through it. And by using just a light, oil and vinegar, it works together. And I think that kind of works with the mucilaginous texture as more of, the way that when you buy salad dressings and they use emulsifiers to make it a little thicker, I think that adds to the natural vinaigrette to give you a slippy kind of dressing that's not unlike if you bought store-bought dressing as opposed to just using oil and vinegar at home. So the whole thing is not an off-putting texture for me. And the flavor is quite nice. So for something that's come from, the Middle Ages, I have to say that it works really well in modern day cuisine. And I could totally do this with some grilled chicken or beef, or just as a lovely side dish for summer salad. Or, as I'm having today, lunch. Yay, that's good.